Hey, my name is Nick. I very accurately predicted the last Ratchet and Clank game, Rift Apart, that happened, and I also predicted many things about it and some features very accurately. I'm here to do that again for the next Ratchet and Clank game. As you can see by the title of this video, Insomniac Games is hiring for a multiplayer project. You know what that means. Ratchet and Clank. All for 1, 2, baby. Yes. No, okay, alright, I'm gonna get right into it. So Insomniac Games said that you should follow me on Twitch, link in the description. Insomniac Games said they are looking for a senior gameplay manager to help us build a world-class engineering team for our new multiplayer project. Oh my god, multiplayer? Insomniac Games, those crazy dogs. You could almost call them naughty dogs. Okay, what does this mean? I'm here to speculate. Now, what do we know that Insomniac is working on? It would be Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine. Those are the only two games that are confirmed that they are working on. I highly doubt this is for Spider-Man 2, as it has been announced for a long time, and I'm sure they're very deep in development into it. When is it coming out this year? No, it comes out next holiday, I think, right? So I don't think they would be hiring now to build a world-class engineering team for a multiplayer project, a big feature of this big game that they're coming out with next year. That's very unlikely. Also, Wolverine, that's slightly more likely as it fits more in a timeline-wise sense. That's much further out. I don't really know what that would be or how that would work. Though personally, I find the key thing to take away here is that they are saying it is a new multiplayer project, as in it's probably something not announced. Not definitely, but probably. Now, the next Ratchet and Clank game is definitely not confirmed and announced, but I think we can definitely totally super count on it happening. So yeah, I think it's that. Or something else. It's probably something else. I would say maybe it's like a 5% chance, Spider-Man 10% chance, Wolverine, a 30% chance Ratchet and Clank, and like a 50% chance of literally anything else. I don't think predicting above 50% would be fair, given that there is literally no information to go off of. If it's not Ratchet, what could it be? It could be Resistance. Maybe that'll come back. There's definitely a lot of demand for that. I think they still like those games too. That would be pretty neat. However, I noticed that there is no mention of any online experience for this job listing. So it leads me to believe that it is more likely kind of like a couch cooperative kind of experience, not like a lobbying matchmaking kind of deal, like Up Your Arsenal, Deadlocked, Size Matters. More on the lines of like Shrek 2, or I guess I should say like All for One would be the better example to use here. But that would lead me to believe it wouldn't be something like Resistance, a shooter game that would probably definitely have some kind of online matchmaking. This is literally just one tweet. I can't read that deep into it, or I shouldn't, rather. Yet here I am, making a video. There's definitely a chance this could be a VR project. Insomniac definitely has experience making VR games. They have I think Edge of Nowhere is their only single-player one. I think their other, is it 3 other games, are all multiplayer to some degree, or online to some degree. Stormlands, their latest one, which came out December 2019, I think. Can confirm it was 2019. It's also Stormland, singular, not plural. Obviously, the PlayStation VR 2 is a thing that is definitely happening. I think that's happening next year, so that could make sense. They definitely have some, at least recent, experience in that field, being that they are PlayStation Studios' family studio. I can imagine that the team that has, you know, maybe the most VR experience and like the biggest, you know, name, they would want them to do some kind of VR thing to promote the PSVR 2. Which leads me to my next point. I can confirm the next Ratchet game will be in VR. VR and multiplayer. It's all we've been wanting this whole time. But okay, what if it is Ratchet? I think it should be. I think there is a good chance it could be Ratchet. Let's talk about that. Now, by the way, I'm going to do my best to not spoil anything about Rift Apart, although there is one thing in particular that I do have to talk about. Kind of unavoidable. It's not a big thing. Well, it kind of is, but Insomniac Games, they've been talking about it pretty publicly on their social media. It's just one character. I'm going to say it. Her name is Kit. It's basically, Kit is to Clank what Rivet is to Ratchet. I'm not going to say any more than that. It's just that, you know, there's Ratchet and Clank and Rivet and Kit. So wow, oh my god, look at that. 2 main playable characters with each their own sidekick character. Man, they could do a multiplayer game with that. And get this, the last game, you'll never believe it, it was called Rift Apart, which is like ripped apart, which like how they were separated apart the entire game. Mostly, you know, what if in the next game, it's not called Rift Apart and they're not ripped apart the entire game and they're actually together in a place where there could be a cooperative game. So yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. And another reason I really do think it could be Ratchet, they're making a lot of games, dude. How many games are they gonna make at the same time? Like I said, the next Ratchet game is like more than definitely happening. So we know, you know, there's Spider-Man, there's Wolverine, there's definitely Ratchet. Who knows what else they're cooking up in there? If they're doing a little VR thing on the side, you know, that's, you know, they can manage that. But like another like full-fledged huge game like Spider-Man, like Wolverine, like Ratchet and Clank, that has a big multiplayer element to it. Can they? What about Ratchet? I really sure hope it is Ratchet, because I want the new Ratchet game to happen. How many games can they work on at once? Insomniac is definitely very efficient, and they're one of the best studios probably that works without crunch. There's a big article about how they manage crunch very well and don't really have to do that, which is awesome. They have a huge team, the biggest it's ever been. They are, again, you know, a PlayStation Studios family. They've only released, I think, what is it, Miles Morales and Rift Apart since they have been partnered with Sony specifically, or PlayStation, whatever. They probably have the most resources they've ever had to make a bunch of games at the same time. But man, since, you know, the next Ratchet is totally happening, I'm sure they're like, there's some degree of it being worked on, most likely. I'm sure of it. Probably not a lot, but there's probably like a small team or something. There's got to be something. There's some people working on it. And it's got me wondering too, if it is Ratchet and they're hiring for a senior gameplay manager for multiplayer. I mean, I guess it would be a while until they actually hire somebody and they're working diligently on that. But still, I mean, if it is Ratchet, I feel like that would be something that would come a little bit later. But maybe I guess they do have to hire for that way ahead of time. I don't know. Maybe they're doing multiple multiplayer games. Lots of thoughts. Lots of what ifs. There's not a lot to go off of here. So, you guys know me. I don't really necessarily go into specifics, kind of theorizing how multiplayer would work. I just kind of, I like to think about the probability and what makes the most sense and what would most likely happen. That's kind of how I predicted everything about Rift Apart. So I'm just saying, you know, the chance is definitely there, and I'm trying to set expectations. As far as when the next Ratchet game will happen, I don't really feel like it's necessary to do a video about that right now at this point in time. There's nothing to go off of, really. Your guess is as good as mine. It's, you know, nothing more than I could say in a simple tweet at this point in time. This is just, you know, barely a little bit of something to go off of. Maybe it has multiplayer. I think that makes sense. That's a nice, you know, family-friendly kind of experience. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments. We can talk about it. Follow me on Twitch. Link in the description. I'm live regularly, mostly, playing lots of games, like Ratchet and Clank, the URCP, Ultimate Ratchet and Clank playthrough. Every single Ratchet and Clank game to complete an entire 100%. That's still happening. It's been like 2 years. We're still doing it. I'm in the middle of Size Matters right now, as of recording this. Join us for the rest of that. We got plenty left to do. Thank you so much for your time today, everyone. I love you all, and I'll see you soon. Peace and love to you and yours.